Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, my leaf is all screwed up. So today we're going to make this little pumpkin. I'm not going to use this green though. I'm going to use this sparkly. You see the sparkles? I'm going to use that sparkly green. Oh, this stuff I bought on Amazon actually. It's a 4-weight worsted. And I think it's from the Red Heart with Love collection, I think. You're going to need a 5mm or an H hook. I'm going to use this orange. This, in my opinion, is the best yarn from Michaels. And that's what it is. Craft Smart Value. I think it's absolutely, it's worsted. It's so soft and it feels wonderful. The color is just specifically orange. So, let's get started. We're going to start with a magic ring. I'm going to push everything out of the way. I'm going to start with a magic ring and a 10 single crochet. Alright, you're going to need a stitch marker because, as you know, I like to work in the round. So you're going to put 2 single crochets in each of those 10 stitches. So after your first one, you're going to put your marker. Or you can cut to 20, whichever way you want to do it. Beginners, I would suggest the marker. That's my 20. You can pull your middle closed now. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. That's 1 single crochet. Your next stitch gets the increase, and that's 2 single crochets, and then that's your repeat. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets all the way around, and at the end you should have 30 stitches. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. And that'll bring you to 40 stitches. And then your next round after that will be 1 single crochet in each of those 40. So that's number 1. 2 single crochets. and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. That should take you to 50 stitches. And then after that, you'll put 1 single crochet into those 50 stitches. That's number 1. 3 single crochets and an increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. So your next 2 rows are going to be increase rows. We're not doing the 1 single crochet in between, so I'll put them on the screen. The first one is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and your next row will be 5 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1. That's 4 single crochets and then your increase. 2 in the same space. So that's what you should have by now. So for the next 10 rows, so we should be on round 10 to round 20. You're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 10 rows, and I will see you on the other side. So this is what you should have. So we're going to start decreasing now. And we're going to start decreasing with 5 single crochets and a decrease. That's number 1 with your stitch marker. 2. That's 5 single crochets, and then your decrease. As you go in, do your first stitch, you grab some. You don't do anything, you go into your second stitch and you grab some. You should have 3 loops, and you're going to pull through all 3 of those loops. That's a decrease. So repeat 1, 5 single crochets, and a decrease. So follow the word prompts, because after you're done this decrease, you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and I will see you on the other side. So your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and 4 single crochets and a decrease. I almost said increase. And then your next round after that will be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So 4 single crochets and a decrease will get you to 50 stitches. That's 2. That's 4. You gotta count this as number 1, don't forget. And then your decrease. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease, And then after that, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So that's number 1. Three single crochets, and then your decrease. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. That's number 1. Two single crochets and then your decrease. So we're just about done closing it up. You could probably stuff it anytime you want. I'm just going to wait for a bit because I find it hard to hold. So after this, you can put 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should have 30 when you're done. Alright, so this is what you should have. We can start putting stuffing in it now. Okie dokie. So it's going to be a little difficult to hold on to at this point. So you're going to do one single crochet and a decrease. So that's your 1 single crochet and then your decrease. We're going to pull this shut, so you don't need to pull tight or anything. You can. It's not really going to make a difference, other than it might stretch this out up here, but we're going to still do another row of decreases, and then we're just going to sew the rest shut. So I know the hole seems like it's pretty big. So for next round, you're going to decrease 10, so you don't need the stitch marker anymore. So all you're going to do is go in. You're going to do 10 decreases. So you're going to go into your first stitch, you're going to grab some. You're going to go into your second stitch and grab some and pull through all 3 of those loops. You're going to do that all the way around. There's no 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. It's just simply going to be decreases. Try not to grab any of that stuffing like I just did. So we're going to do this 10 times. So that's 5 for me. This will be 8. And 1 more makes 10. So this is the hole that you're left with. You're going to go into your next hole. Oh. You're going to fasten off. So fasten off with the tail because you're going to sew this shut. And then you want enough to weave in. So you want enough to sew this shut and then weave in. So, if you think you need more stuffing, which I think I might need a bit, you can stuff it, keep stuffing it at this point. I always stuff it when the hole gets small. I always all of a sudden go, no, I think I need some more. So as you can see, I like to push mine out to the sides and then shove some down the middle. Hopefully yours is roundish. So you can take your needle. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can go in to this one piece of yarn and out the next one, like that. Or you can go in here, skip one, and go out here. Either way, it's going to close your top. You don't need to pull it yet. Go in your next one, skip one, and go out the other one. It's just a quicker way to do it. So I'm back around. So I'm just going to pull the middle closed like that. I'm going to come across and I will just want to make a little knot. So I'm going to go through that loop right there. So when I pull, I'm going to pull this way and this way. And that just tightens it right up at the top. Or the bottom, because you'll probably want to use that side. Doesn't matter either way. We're putting one of these guys on it, so it doesn't really matter. I use this side to put my thing on. So once you've got your knot tied and you're happy that there's a nice round orange ball in front of you, you can just weave. So when you weave, make sure you go in as close to the tail as you can, or to the lead. You're going to pull through, so when you pull, it's just going to end up looking like a stitch. If you do pull too tight and you get a divot, you can just pop it back out. It's no big deal. But try not to pull tight. So they say 3 different directions. Confuses the yarn if it tries to come undone, but I mean, no one's going to be pulling on it for it to come undone. Oh, I just pulled way too tight there. There we go. So I'm just going to push down a little bit and cut that off. So I reattached with my orange to make the orange these things for the side of the pumpkin. So I just made a slip knot. It went in somewhere, wherever. Like I said, there's going to be a brown thing sitting on here, so go in wherever. Pull through, pull tight. And then I chained 25, but I don't feel like it's actually tight enough. So let's chain 20. So that's 20. So you can pull and then attach right down here at the bottom. Keep it tight, because what you want it to do is kind of indent a little bit. It's hard to see. There you go. If you want yours to indent more, then do less than 20, but that's all I did. Well, I did 25 for my first one, but I'm going to change it to 20 because it looks better. So you can kind of scooch over here. You can scooch anywhere you want, Let's do a couple, maybe a couple of stitches over. I think that's what I did in the first place. A couple stitches and then I chain 20 again. That's 20. So you're gonna stretch it all the way up to the top, and you attach with a single crochet to the top. You're gonna have to move your stuffing around after, but anyway, you get the idea. So then we do the same thing up here. We move over a couple of stitches. A little different up here because stitches are further apart because we just sewed it together. But you can try to keep it even with this, with your other one. So I've got my 6 done. I did 6 all together, just like before. So I'm going to scooch over here and I'm just going to do a slip stitch. You can do it wherever you want. So enough just to weave, because you definitely want to weave. So these are not too tight that you can't move them around and space them out better than I did when I first did it. So, and then you just got to move your stuff around. So that's what it looks like on the bottom. So you can move these, space them out differently, move your stuffing around, all that stuff. So I want to just make a small wee little knot, even though I just fastened off. So I'm going to pull and pull, and that tightens your knot right down. And then I'm just going to weave. I don't have to weave excessively because I don't really think anyone's going to be pulling on any of this. So I'm just going to weave a couple of times. There. The start of your little pumpkin. So let's move on to the stem. We're still using a 5. So get a brown. Mine's kind of a beigey brown because brown's all sold out in stores, if you can believe it. Yep, this pandemic sucks. So I'm going to do a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it. You're going to put 1 single crochet and an increase. We're not going to do the 2 single crochet in each stitch. So that's 1 single crochet and an increase. You have 6 stitches, so you can do this 3 times. You should have 9 stitches, so I'm going to use your stitch marker this time. So you're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase. So after your first one, you're going to put your stitch marker. Next stitch gets 1. So that's 2 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets the increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same space. You can turn this right side in now. You're going to do 2 rows of 1 single crochet. We should have 12 stitches, so in each of those 12 you're going to put 1 single crochet for the next 2 rows. So you can just count to 24. So that's my 2 rows. You can tuck your silly tail in there. So for the next, this is gonna sound weird. So we're gonna get weird again. So for 4 rows, you're gonna do 4 half doubles and 8 singles. Okay. So there's my 1 half double. I'm going to put my stitch marker in so I can keep track of the weirdness. It's the only way I could think of how to turn it. 2 half doubles, 3 and 4 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles. So you should be able to do 8 singles, single crochets. So you're going to do this for 4 rows. That's how we're going to get it to turn like that. We're also stuffing this, so you can stuff it along the way. And I do 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you've got an ever so slight bend to your stem. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet in those the very same 12 stitches. So the next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each, bringing it up to 24, so we can get the base done now. So put your stitch marker in after the first one. So you should have 24 stitches at this point, and you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. Then you can fasten off, you can stuff it, and we can sew it to the top of our pumpkin. I'm just going to go into the next stitch. I'm going to fasten off. So I'll fasten off with enough to sew with and to weave with. So go into your next stitch and pull this guy through. I can pull up and tighten it. So when you stuff this, you have to stitch. It's got a bend, and you have to stuff it as such. So you want it to look like that. You don't have to put a whole lot in there because of the way we did it. It does just bend on its own. So it doesn't have to be a huge whole lot. Maybe a little bit more. I just want something solid to weave into as well. So just a little bit more. So we can get this sewed to the top of the pumpkin. So it entirely will cover all this mess up here. So figure out where you want your stem situated, and then you're just going to go down into the pumpkin to start. But we're going to stay in the brown area. So this is just to start. Now that will pull it right underneath. You won't see it. So we're just going to stay in the brown. I'm going to go into the pumpkin and come out. Easy peasy. Try to keep them fairly close together, your stitches. I have one of these needles with a bent end on it, so it helps. So if it starts to look bunchy, that's what you want, because around here it's not a perfect circle. So I'm back around to where I started. I'm just going to go down into the pumpkin. And I'm going to come up into my stem, and that's where I'm going to do my weaving. So mine's crooked and all that, and it looks fabulous because it looks like an actual pumpkin. It's probably good for me. Alright, so let's do a curly Q. So I used a 3.5 millimeter, which is an E, and I'm still sticking with my brown. So I did, let me show you. So I did a little tiny curly Q, and then I did a bigger one with a different needle, so, or hook, sorry. I keep calling it a needle. Sure you're used to it by now. So I'll make a slip knot. You don't have to do these parts. You're going to chain 30. So that's 30. You're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way back up, and you're going to see it start to curl. So these are supposed to signify the feelers on a pumpkin, little viney thingies. I call them feelers. I don't know what they're called. So now that we're back at the top, you can pull your slip knot there, and you can fasten off. There's nothing to slip stitch into. Keep a little bit for sewing. You can sew it on. Pull that out. Now what I like to do is, because I had nothing really to slip stitch into, and I don't really need to tuck my straggler in, I'm just going to tie a knot right there. I'm going to tie a double knot. Pull really tight so you can make it nice and small, and then cut off there as close to the knot as you can. So you can just twist your last bit yourself. And that's your curlicue. So, my needle. You can sew that anywhere onto your brown. Pretty much all I do, and then I'm just gonna go around almost like I'm sewing the thing on again, but I just don't want it to curlicue to let loose. So this is almost what I'm doing to weave, is basically sewing the stem on again. It was just way easier than making another knot. And then you can just go down and up into the stem to finish weaving if you want. But I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Alright, so we're going to get to the leaf. And then I'm going to do mine in this color. It's a sparkly. I didn't tack mine down or anything, but if you wanted to, you could always put a couple of stitches to hold it down. But I kind of like it when it folds up and everything, because it looks like an actual pumpkin leaf. And then we'll do this after. You can do this whenever you want. You just learned how to do this. This is just with a different needle. I used a 4mm or a G hook for that. So we'll do the leaf now. And the leaf I did with 5mm. If you want it smaller, you can use a 4mm. So make a slip knot. You're going to chain 17. You're going to do 6 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. You're going to do 5 half double crochets, 1 in each stitch. So you're going to yarn over. You can go in, grab your yarn. You have 3 loops. You're going to come through all 3 of those. That's a half double. You're going to do 4 doubles. My 4 doubles. This stuff is a little slippery to work with. So in your last stitch here, you're going to put 4 double crochets all in the same stitch. So we're going to be working in the round. So you can pull your slip knot closed and then turn it sideways. So, right, this is your stitch. This is your slip knot. And that's the stitch right next to it. You're going to go into that stitch. You're going to put, starting here, you're going to put 4 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. Starting in this first stitch. Now I'm weaving in this tail too. So I don't have to worry about it later. If you're not, then you'll have to take care of it later. and that's the tail from your slip knot originally. So that's my 4 double crochets. I'm going to do 5 half double crochets. That's my 5 half doubles. So it should look like a rib cage. If it's not, you've missed a stitch somewhere, but that's what it should look like. Stitches on top of stitches. So now I'm going to do 5 single crochets. That's 5. I'm going to stop weaving in this tail now because it's just annoying me. So I'm going to slip stitch into this top stitch here. And I'm going to chain 1. So you should be right at the very tippy top. So we're just going to continue around. Your next 6 stitches you're going to slip stitch into. So you're not making stitches, you're just making slip stitches. The reason for that is because I'm not going to be putting another row in, and I didn't really want to build here. I wanted to keep this nice and skinny. I don't want to build out here. So over the next 5 stitches, you're going to put 2 double crochets in each of the next 5 stitches. You're going to do 2 triple crochets, not treble. Treble crochet is only a UK term for double crochet. I want you to do a triple crochet. So you're going to yarn over twice. You're going to go into the stitch. You're going to pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. That's triple, which everybody calls a treble. It's not a treble. You're going to put 2 triple crochets in the next 12 stitches. So this is what it should look like right now. You're going to put 5 double crochets over each over the next 5 stitches. a little hard to do with this little guy sticking out. And then you're going to do 6 slip stitches. So after this last one, you can fasten off with a sewing tail. And that's your leaf. So that's what it looks like when it's laid out flat. Don't know what yours looks like. That's what it's supposed to look like. So you can just snip this off if you've weaved that in. I'm just going to snip off my sparkly stuff there. And we can sew this. So whatever part of the world you're from, your pumpkin leaves might look different, but here in Canada, this is what they look like. So you can figure out where to sew it. I'm going to sew mine right to the front. Well, whatever the front is. Pull it tight. I'm going to go down once more. And I'm going to pop out somewhere. So I'll probably cut too much, but you can tie a knot just in case somebody pulls on. We didn't really weave it all that much, but you can tie a little knot. Don't have to make it tight. If you don't make it tight, then it actually works better, because if you make it tight, it may just go through the stuffing. The whole point of that is the knot should get lodged. So if somebody reefs on this leaf, the knot should get lodged and it shouldn't go anywhere. So you can stop here, or you can make another curly Q if you want. I'm going to make another curly Q. I'm going to do mine in the green. I'm going to use a 4mm or a G hook. So this is the same concept, but with a bigger hook, and you're going to do it longer, so you're going to chain 50. There, I got my 50 done, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the other one. It's going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way up. So once you get back up, tighten your slip knot, fasten off with a sewing tail, tie your ends together, and then we can sew it to the pumpkin. I'm just going to tack it with a couple of stitches. I'm just going to go down and weave through here, tie my knot. This is for decorations, this is not for playtime, so there should be no reason that you need to really sew it on that much. So I'll cut that off, poke that down into the stuffing, and we're all done. This is your pumpkin. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.